Your reaction, I mean, over the years, in every interview that we've done, every interview that I've heard or read, your reaction to it, to this, what you're describing, is it seems to be one of dismay and anger, taking for granted that if you were to get emotional about it, there wouldn't be crocodile tears. I mean, are there times when you just feel like letting it all out? And I mean, doesn't it make you?
Oh, of course, it's very upsetting. I mean, that's people close to me know how upset I get. That's another thing. People who know me would say, "But do you want?" I mean, it's one of these things. To be acceptable, I would have to do a public demonstration of a personal situation that then would be hashed as being the shoes union. So I have to be strong. It's also not easy. I mean, people. I remember a particular thing I was accused of by the Procurador was being aggressive to a journalist. I don't know what journalist I have been aggressive to. I was very calm when I left the prison, in spite of the fact they were jumping on me and they were pulling at me. And I was getting out of the house. The only thing I did, and I saw it on TV, because I remember the person screaming at me, "Oh, why are you so aggressive?" When I left the prison, there were three cameramen in the back seat of the car. They were not invited. They did not get out. They didn't get out till about 2 blocks later. They didn't ask my permission to film me, or my lawyer's permission to be there. And it's like, that's not legal. It's not right, and it's not legal. And it's not even ethical. So in another part of the trip from Chorrillos to my house, there was an accident. They smashed the back of the car. When Dr. Apari got out to look at that, there were 3 journalists standing in the door, and I thought they were going to pull it open. And so what I did was I was trying to put the lock down. And they filmed it and said, "Look, she's aggressive." And it's like, I'm not being aggressive. I'm trying to protect myself. So it's one of these things, it's really not easy. I mean, my thing, I feel really bad for something that happened when I was leaving prison. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. And there are people there who obviously never say, well, unless I was sent back to prison, of course, I wouldn't see again, but, other mothers of children, prison, and you say goodbye to people, but I couldn't, because I knew I was going out to, I thought 50 members of the press. It was actually probably more than 200. And it's not easy. Because having cameras in your face is like, and knowing that if I smile, oh, she's sarcastic. If I don't smile, she's angry. It's impossible to exist when everything is scrutinized, and it's really not easy to face the press that way. And on top of it, I'm not a public person. I am just a person trying to go on with her life, and this is what I'm up for.
So it's a kind of dehumanization.
Yeah, I feel like an object.
Well, let me ask you a question. And you mentioned Dr. Apari. I mean, he's
the father of my child.
The father. If and when you and when your son goes to the United States with you, what about visitation? I mean, how is he going to get to visit his son?
I'm sure the child can come visit him here. We could go to some other place to have him. And certainly the advantage of today's technology, because I was fascinated by this, with Skype. Because my mother was in New York, and we were sitting in the living room. We were all, Salvador would be so happy because he wanted to see his grandma. So that's the advantage of that. Is certainly one of the advantages of technology. It's kind of hard for me to accept technology in certain things because I think it's so impersonal. But it's actually, that part is great. I mean.
But has there been any discussion with the U.S. consul about some way to get him a visa to go to the States if that were
no, not at all. No. That's not an issue we're looking into. I'm sure at some point we will figure out. I mean, I would by no means want to cut, not only with him, with his family as well. Salvador has his family. Salvador's Peruvian. I mean, and I'm proud of his being Peruvian, and I think he should be proud of his being Peruvian.